Lately, a whisper has been rising from every corner of the digital void, a question born of restless nights and unexplained shadows. Many of you are asking, is there a gaze upon me that I cannot see? Is there an entity lingering in my silence? Or perhaps, is it a darker craft that unravels the threads of my life? Let us be clear. These forces are not mere folklore or figments of a troubled mind. They are truths. The unseen weight of the evil eye, the intrusive presence of spiritual afflictions, and the ancient reality of sorcery. These are acknowledged in the sacred verses of the Qur'an. The Creator himself has cautioned us about these veils of darkness. To find the cure, we must first understand the ailment. We must learn to distinguish the shadow from the source. So, let us begin with the most subtle of them all, the evil eye. As the prophet once spoke, the evil eye possesses a power so potent it can drive a man to his grave and lead a camel to the cauldron. We are speaking of a force capable of manifesting a weight so heavy it can alter the very course of destiny. To protect ourselves, we must analyze its shadow. The impact of the eye reveals itself in two distinct realms. First, the psychological toll. A soul under this gaze begins to drift. You may feel a sudden, crushing wave of reluctance, a desire to retreat, to postpone, to withdraw from the world you once embraced. Without even realizing why, you find yourself seeking the cold comfort of isolation. A life that was once a rising star of success suddenly strikes a wall of invisible obstacles. You fall, not because you lack strength, but because the air around you has grown heavy with the longing of others. When we look at the physical vessel, the evil eye manifests as a tangible burden. You may feel an inexplicable weight upon your head and shoulders, a pressure that refuses to lift. If the affliction has deepened, it settles in the core, the stomach, as a dense, aching tightness that signals a disruption of your inner harmony. But where there is a shadow, there is a path to the light. The most potent remedy for this energy lies within the essence of life itself, the element of water. Water carries a unique resonance. It is a swift conductor of spiritual healing. To cleanse the weight of the eye, we turn to the sacred. By reciting specific verses and prayers of protection over pure water, we infuse it with divine healing. As you drink this sanctified water regularly, the heavy frequencies of the eye are washed away, allowing your spirit to flow freely once more. As I have whispered in our previous journeys, consistency is the bedrock of transformation. To truly shatter the chains of these unseen energies, one must be steadfast. A single drop does not carve stone. It is the persistence of the flow. Therefore, commit to these practices for no less than 11 days, and up to the sacred cycle of 40. Discipline is your greatest shield. But what are the keys to this lock? Which verses shall we breathe into the water? First, seek refuge in the 51st and 52nd verses of Surah Al-Qalam, the verses known by many as the ultimate sentinels against the gaze. If you find yourself surrounded by the biting winds of envy, the 109th verse of Surah Al-Baqarah will serve as your fortress. Do not overlook the throne verse, Ayat al-Kursi, the 255th verse of Al-Baqarah, a source of immense celestial power. And of course, the opening Al-Fatiha and the final protectors, Al-Falaq and An-Nas. These are not just words. They are divine frequencies that dismantle the dark energies woven into your aura. To complete this purification, we call upon the ancient wisdom of the earth, the ritual of incense. By harnessing the elemental spirit of sacred herbs, We cleanse the air and fortify the aura, sweeping away the lingering shadows with the rising smoke. Let us begin with the sacred fluid. Take the water, and for each verse and chapter we have named, recite them 11 times. With every completion, let your breath carry the intention. Exhale softly into the water, infusing the liquid with the vibration of the word. 11 recitations, 11 breaths of life. Once the water is charged, drink a portion to purify your inner sanctuary. Then, pour a small amount into your right palm and gently anoint the crown of your head. This act dissolves the shadows within your aura and clears the blockages of the crown chakra, the gateway to the divine. When this center is clouded, we drift away from our spiritual essence. When it is cleared, we return to the light. To further cleanse your space, gather a bundle of the earth's protectors, Peganum harmala, userlick, bay leaves, fennel, and sage. As the sacred smoke rises from these herbs, it carries away the dense, stagnant energies of the gaze. You will feel it, a sudden lightness in your chest, a clarity in your mind. In the very moment of recitation, in the very heart of the smoke, the weight will begin to lift, and you will breathe freely once more. Now, we turn our gaze to the unseen entities, the entities that walk beside us in the shadows. We must understand that their primary weapon is not physical, it is the whisper. They sow seeds of doubt, anxiety, and restlessness within the soul. If a man is spiritually fragile, these whispers grow into storms, manifesting first as psychological turmoil and finally as physical decay. But remember, a strong soul is a fortress. When your aura is fortified with light and faith, these entities find no purchase. They may approach, but they cannot take root. The divine wisdom confirms this. Darkness cannot survive where the light is steadfast. You ask, how do I know if a shadow has clung to me? There is a practical path to clarity through the resonance of Surah Al-Ikhlas. We use the medium of water once more, for as it is written, these forces move through the human vessel like the very blood in our veins. By infusing water with the truth, we force the hidden to become visible. Recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 21 times over a glass of water. Drink it slowly, sip by sip. Let the frequency of the word settle into your essence. If a shadow is present, it will react to this purity. You may feel a sudden crushing weight in your chest, a burning heat in your stomach, or a surge of inexplicable, fiery rage. Do not be deceived. This is not your anger. It is the entity within, suffering under the weight of the sacred. If you feel this fire, if the rage consumes you, do not walk this path alone. Seek the guidance of those who truly possess the knowledge of the soul. Protect your sanctuary. This is a threshold that demands your utmost reverence. Hear me clearly. Some entities possess a strength that can overwhelm the human vessel, pulling the consciousness into a state of trance. If you feel your body slipping from your command, if your movements become erratic or your actions feel guided by an invisible hand, stay vigilant. When an entity reaches this peak of energy, it gains the power to manifest physically. In this state, the danger is no longer just spiritual, it is tangible. Without care, you risk bringing harm to yourself or the ones you love. Do not attempt to battle this storm alone. Seek the counsel of a true master of the soul, someone whose knowledge is a lighthouse in this darkness. And then, there is sorcery, a shadow that is nearly as old as humanity itself. Since the dawn of time, the human journey has been one of ceaseless struggle. While some choose the path of light to overcome their trials, others, consumed by greed or malice, reach into the abyss. They seek to bend the will of destiny through the twisted art of magic. It is a desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable, a legacy of shadows that haunts us to this day. This is why the desperate reach for sorcery. It is a shadow documented in the sacred pages, from the trials of Moses to the wisdom of Solomon in Surah al-Baqarah. It is a reality that exists, a web woven to create a blockage in the flow of your life. It may strike your relationships, your wealth, your health, or the very path of your education. It is an anchor designed to keep you from your destiny. Detecting the craft is not as simple as the others. It requires a deeper vision, a master of the unseen, or a spiritual opening to reveal what is hidden. But you are not without a shield. There are frequencies that no dark art can withstand. Detecting the craft is not as simple as the others. It requires a deeper vision, a master of the unseen, or a spiritual opening to reveal what is hidden. But you are not without a shield. There are frequencies that no dark art can withstand. Prepare a glass of water for yourself. Recite the 69th verse of Surah Taha, the powerful sequence of Al-Araf, verses 117 to 122, and once more, the throne verse. Each must be breathed into the water 21 times. Remember, this is a personal sanctuary. Each soul must have its own intent, its own glass. Drink it and watch for the signs. If a craft has been woven against you, your body will rebel against the lie. A sudden urge to purge, a trembling in the limbs, or a searing heat in the place where a spiritual entity has been stationed. If these storms arise within you, do not hesitate. Seek a guardian of knowledge to guide you back to the light, so that by the will of the divine, you may find your healing. We have walked through the three shadows today: the eye, the presence, and the craft. Knowledge is your first line of defense. If you wish to journey deeper into these mysteries, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your path to peace is waiting.